Hi guys, today on Cooking the Books with Heather, we're cooking from Deep Run Roots, Vivian Howard's cookbook. And I happened to get some rutabagas from my produce box this week, and so I was looking for something to do with them. And I found a very simple stewed rutabagas recipe. I don't think I've ever had them before. I don't know what to expect, but it was all ingredients I had in the house and seems relatively simple. It takes a while to cook it. 30 minutes to like up to 2 hours once it's all in the pot, but it depends on how old the rutabagas are, but we're gonna give it a try. So the only thing that I really have to do for this recipe as far as preparation, I've already measured out my other ingredients, which wasn't that much, but I have to peel and chop the rutabagas. They are a root vegetable and they are really kind of hard to chop through. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that done. I've got my peeler. She has a story in the book about the woman who she learned this from and how she just used a knife and didn't even use a cutting board. So that's an interesting story if you wanna read that up, read up on that. But I'm gonna use my peeler. Oops. Okay, so everything is all peeled and I'm going to chop them. And you'll notice that there are a couple of areas on these where I couldn't get a good peel. I'm just gonna chop those areas off as I chop them up. Need about a 1-inch dice, so not too small. Okay. All done chopping. I'm not really concerned that some of these are bigger than others. In the end, we're gonna end up kind of not pureeing them, not really mashing them, but we are gonna take a chopper to them so they're not pieces. And so we're just gonna cook them until they're relatively done. So that's it here. The rest happens on the stove. The next step for stewed rutabagas is to take some water. I've measured that out already. And add 8 ounces of bacon. She suggests slab bacon, but sliced bacon will do fine, and this is what I had on hand. And just put the bacon in the water, and we're going to bring this up to a boil and then reduce it to a simmer for 15 minutes, rendering some of the fat into the water before we put the rutabagas in here with the bacon. So we're gonna wait for that to come up to a boil. Actually, I believe, we're gonna cover that and bring that up to a boil. That'll make it happen faster. All right, as you can see, we're at a pretty good rolling boil now. I'm gonna put the lid back on and turn it down to where I know it'll simmer. Yeah. And got my timer set. We'll be back in 15 minutes. So this has been cooking for about 15 minutes. It's probably been a little bit high because I didn't pay too much attention to it, and it's boiling like crazy with the lid on. But now all we have to do is add the rutabagas that we already peeled and chopped to the water with the bacon. Ooh, that was hot. All right. And now we just let that go, I think lid on for another hour. And we can check on it, make sure that it's got enough water, that it doesn't, dry out, but with a lid on, it's probably not going to. And make sure they're tender before it goes all the way through them, and then they're done. So we'll be back in about an hour. These have been cooking for about an hour now, and oh, speaking of, I don't want that to keep beeping at me. So we're gonna check and make sure that they are done. And it looks like Yep, the fork goes through, so they're pretty tender. I've checked them a couple times just to make sure, and I was pretty sure they were gonna be done. So, yep, fork is going through pretty well, so they're done. Now, we need to drain most of the water off of these and take the bacon out. So, that's what we're gonna do now. I'm gonna go ahead and take the bacon out. Hopefully it comes out pretty easily. I think that's where a slab of bacon would be much easier. At least my pieces were thick sliced bacon, so they didn't fall apart too much. So there we go. Now, I'm not sure that I'm gonna have enough room in this container for all of that water, but I'm going to just drain it into here. I've got a strainer to catch any rutabagas that want to fall out. And of course I'm going to make a mess. Yep, that's not going to be enough. So I'm going to go ahead and grab oh, sorry about that noise. Grab another one. Okay. Now, she said to drain all but a half a cup. So I'm going to just add a half a cup back in here. That's about right. That should be good. And then, let's see. We add, I've pre-measured this dark brown sugar, salt, and pepper. And then, of course, make sure I get as much out as I can. I've got the water from the steam. Made the spices sticky. And then you take either a collard chopper, which is what this is, a potato masher, or even just a large fork, and sort of chop these up. You're not looking for mashed potato consistency, but just sort of, I don't know, smaller pieces. And what I'm going by is the picture that's included with this more than anything else at this point. Because like I said, I've never had these. So I've had rutabagas before. We made a roasted rutabaga recipe with pork tenderloin from this book before. And you can just roast them plain and whatever. You can cook them like most root vegetables. They can stand in for potatoes a lot of times. They're slightly less starchy. All right. Okay, now I'm going to just stir this up to get the spices and everything mixed up. And see if I have any more big pieces, and it looks like I do. And I think that's probably as good as it's going to get at this point. So there you have it. That is what the stewed rutabagas look like. I'm gonna put a lid on this and just keep it warm while we wait for the rest of our dinner to be ready, and then we'll try it. Okay, so you guys have just watched me make stewed rutabagas from Deep Run Roots, Vivian Howard's cookbook. And that was a couple days ago. My husband and I had some of the leftovers for dinner tonight, so I wanted to go ahead and let you guys know what I thought of the recipe. It was very easy. It was, I think, pretty authentic to Eastern North Carolina. My husband, who is from the area, says that he's sure he's had something like that before, and I know I've never made it before, so it's probably with his family. We both enjoyed it. It's really good. It's very easy. It's, you know, it's a vegetable. It's a nice side. My kids did not like it. They're kind of not fans of turnips or rutabagas or anything like that very much. I know that I've made this honey glazed pork tenderloin with bacon roasted rutabagas before, which were absolutely delicious, and they didn't like those either. So usually if you roast a vegetable, they'll like it, but you know, if they don't like it stewed, they might like it roasted, but they didn't like that roasted, so they probably just don't like rutabagas or turnips in general. So I would certainly make it again. I'll keep plugging on those kids, and they eat it because that's the rule, but they did not like it. But yeah, it was pretty easy. There were no gotchas, no mistakes. The only hard part would be trying to figure out if your rutabagas are done, but I think just about everybody can figure out if you can put a fork through it, it's done. So, all right, I hope you enjoyed. We'll be back next time with another recipe. Not sure what that's going to be yet, but hope you'll join us at Cooking the Books with Heather.